today's video I'm going to show you how I edit my Instagram pictures, and this is without a doubt the most requested video. Half of the questions that I get are how do you edit your Instagram pictures, and a lot of people, including myself, really enjoy these videos, so I'm really happy to make it. So without further ado, here is how I edit my Instagram pictures. Now the first thing that I always do every single time I edit a picture is open up Snapseed. Go to Tune Image and I higher the brightness. I lower the contrast quite a bit. I don't touch the shadows or anything else for this picture, but I mean, it depends on the picture that you're editing as well. If I see that a picture has too many shadows, obviously I'll alter the shadows. If it's too low on saturation or high on saturation, I obviously edit that according to what the picture needs. But this picture just needed the brightness and the contrast to be altered. So I go ahead and I save that, and then I open up VSCO cam or VSCO cam. I don't know how to pronounce this ever. Right now the filter that I'm using is A6, and I just click A6 and I lower it all the way down to about in between 3.5 to 4. I don't like for it to look too filtered, but I don't like for it to look like it doesn't have a filter at all either. So I think it looks good like this. And other filters that I really like are HB1, J1, and S2. I'm not sure exactly what packages those belong to, but that's the name of the actual filter. But for right now, I've been using A6 on almost all of my pictures. So I go ahead and save that, and then I open up Darkroom. And in Darkroom, I just go to, I guess, the aqua color, and I lower that saturation all the way. I go to the blue color and I lower that saturation all the way. And all that does is cancel out that color from the picture. I don't like my whites to look too blue or too yellow. So usually I just cancel out the blue so that my whites look pretty much non-saturated at all. I just have to pick a color. For instance, I'm picking yellow, and I move the saturation either down or up, and you're gonna see that all of the yellows in the picture become more saturated. I like my browns to be fairly saturated, because if you go on my Instagram, you'll notice that almost all of my pictures have something either brown or beige in it. So I like to keep everything cohesive. So I want to bring out the brown things in my picture or the beige things in my picture. So for this one, if I click on the yellow, you'll see that the little flowers have a little bit of yellow and a little brown. So if I higher that saturation, the flowers will pop more. So I think it looks good like that. So I go to share and I save it, and then I open up UNUM. This just shows you how the picture is gonna look on your feed. Now I took this picture a couple weeks back, so it's gonna be a little bit lower on the feed, but that doesn't really matter. So I open it up here, and I see that the picture to the right is just slightly a little bit less saturated than this one. So I open up Snapseed, and then a trick that I like to do is go to the brush tool, press saturation, and I lower it to -5. So this is just a brush tool that's gonna lower the saturation on whatever it is that you're brushing. So I like to do this on my whites, just so that we get rid of any tint that may have been left over or anything. And again, you guys don't have to do this, honestly, but I've noticed that I'm extremely, like, unnecessarily picky when it comes to these things. And that should do it. And then I noticed that there's like a little eraser over here, and that's bothering me. So I go to healing, and we're gonna get rid of that. Then I go to save a copy, and then I go back to UNUM and I make sure that it matches my feed. I mean, you can barely tell a difference, but trust me, I noticed the difference. And that's pretty much it. From here, I just uploaded to my Instagram, and that's all I do for regular pictures. Now, for my black and white pictures, I edit them a little differently, so I'm gonna show you how I do that. For black and white pictures, I only use Snapseed. I don't have to use VSCO cam or anything like that. And all I do is I go to edit and I scroll down and I click on black and white. And this is all you need. You have the option to alter the brightness, the contrast, and the grain. So for the brightness in this picture, I think it's pretty good. So I'm gonna higher it a little bit. And then for contrast, I'm just gonna leave it at 0. And for grain, I really like to add grain to my black and white pictures because I feel like it gives it more of a film look, film-esque look. I just higher the grain a little bit and it just makes it look a little bit older. And that's pretty much it for my black and white pictures. Now that's everything that I do to edit my Instagram pictures, but I think that the most important part about keeping a cohesive feed is coming up with a theme. Picking a color that you like and try incorporating that color into all of your pictures or as often as possible. And also taking pictures with a lot of light. I take most of my pictures next to a window or in a room that has very, very good lighting. And you're gonna see that if you take pictures that have very good lighting to begin with, or that have colors that already match with your feed, the editing is very simple and it's just something used to enhance the picture. Another thing that I like to do is if I really want to post something that doesn't go with a picture that's next to it, I call it a filler picture in between. So if you go to my feed, you'll see that, for instance, I have this black and white picture right here that doesn't really go with this picture right here. So what I do is I do a filler picture. So I took a little flat lay, which the majority of the picture has white in it. So it looks a lot better than if I would have put this picture next to the black and white picture. Now I'm gonna show you how that looks in UNUM because it's probably easier to explain. If I would have put this picture next to this one, it just doesn't look as good as this one next to this one, if that makes any sense at all. Just like this picture of me staring at a mirror wouldn't look very good next to this picture right here. So I put the picture of my bullet journal in between. So those are my filler pictures. I don't like to put pictures of myself next to other pictures of myself. I always like to do a filler picture. I feel like another very important thing to keep in mind when you're trying to have a cohesive feed, or a feed that overall looks aesthetically pleasing. I'm not saying that my feed is like extremely aesthetically pleasing. I'm just saying so that it looks a little better. I've noticed that you have to play around with the layout of your feed. You can't just edit a picture and post it pretty much. That's why I love this app so much, because you can plan out your feed and you can see what pictures look good next to what other pictures. I take my pictures on my iPhone 7 Plus, but I also use the camera that I'm filming on right now, which is my Sony A7R with the 24 to 70 millimeter lens. All of the pictures that I'm in, basically, I take with this camera. Because I just like the quality a little bit better than the iPhone, and all of my blog pictures are taken with this camera as well. I don't use my iPhone camera for that. To edit my blog pictures, I use Lightroom. I don't use VSCO cam or anything. I edit them differently, but if I put any of my blog pictures on my Instagram, I do edit them the same way that I edit my other Instagram pictures. And that is pretty much everything for how I edit my Instagram pictures. If you guys have any questions, or if I forgot to mention something or go over something, please feel free to leave me a comment below asking me whatever it is that you want to ask me, and I'll be happy to answer you. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you in my next video.